Hello, my name is Brandon Johnson. I'm a freelance graphic designer. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your Illustrator file to be print ready for a two-color business card. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing you should know for sure is that actually when you're working with this type of project and you're trying to do two colors, you're really working with three. What I mean by that is you're going to have the two colors you're choosing, and then the color of the paper is actually your third choice. Most standard printers don't actually print white ink. They use the actual white paper itself as your white, so that actually is left completely untouched as the printing process goes. So if you want to print white, you have to go to a very special printing service that happens to print white. But most standard local print shops, they might not have that option. So you have to consider that if you want to have a different color for your paper or your business cards, it's not going to have white. Having experience worked at a print shop, I can show you easily how to set up your files to be ready to print. Alrighty, so let's get started. Once you have Illustrator open, we're just going to quickly go to the Create Now, like you normally would. Standard business cards for printing are going to be 3.5 by 2 inches. Make sure your bleed is turned on, typically it'll start at the 0 here, to 0.125 inches. You're going to need that because most standard printers, that's just kind of like the standard practice for having bleed. So 1.25 is a good habit to start working with. And then make sure that your document's in CMYK color. Printers don't print in RGB, so you need to really learn how to start using color in CMYK to make sure your colors are true to how you want them printed. So let's go ahead and hit create. Now bleeds, those are very important when it comes to printing. Let me explain more about why it is. Because if you don't have them, your design might not come out the way you want it to, or you might be losing things that you need for your business cards that are very important that are now being cut off without the bleeds. So getting started with the file here, you can see that we have our default workspace, which is this whole white artboard. That's what you usually will get to see when you create your Illustrator files. Those who don't recognize it, there's now this red rectangle outline around it. That's going to be your bleed line. Basically what you want to do is when you're designing, you want to make sure that nothing important is going over those edges. And I'll show you why. So let's just take the word the, for example, right? Let's say that was your name or your logo, whatever. If you have that text go out, when you go to get it printed and they go to cut this, they're going to cut the border of this white box. So if we hit the shortcut Shift F for full view, this is how your print's going to turn out. That top of that T is going to be cut off. You're not going to be able to see what the word really is. That could be part of your logo being cut off, that could be part of your name being cut off, etc. That's why you want the bleed. The bleed is there to give you extra space, so when they cut, nothing important is going to be cut off. So if we move that back to, let's say, there, everything's there. It's all good. Let's go ahead and show you an example of my business card to show you what I'm talking about more in depth. Alrighty, so right now I have pulled up my personal business card that I use. As you can see, I have a red background that I use for the face of it. I have that red going out to the bleed line to make sure that I don't get those white little slivers that could happen, and there's plenty of room for nothing to get cut. I also have this rectangle that creates a leading line to what I do, which is brand identity, print design, and typography. It just kind of helps move the eye down from the logo to what I do. And that goes past the bleed. It doesn't really matter as long as it goes to that bleed line. Looking at the front or back, whichever your opinion is, this is the other side of the business card. You can see that I have plenty of space for all the important things away from the edges to ensure that nothing important, such as my name or my contact info, gets cut off. I also have rectangles to ensure that those, again, don't get the white margins there, and they go to the bleed lines. I have this one here to kind of help bring a leading line down to my number, website, and email address, as well as I have the ends lining up, and then right next to that line is my info. So it's a whole nice gridded system that I've created. One thing to note, especially when you're starting to work with colors and print, is Pantones. This will be just a quick demonstration if you're curious to find a Pantone, because some printers will use Pantones. What you can do is simply grab whatever color you have. This is my red. Click on it, go to Edit, Colors, and then Recolor Artwork. From here, underneath there's a little none, this little swatch book. If you click that, you go on the color books. The ones that really matter are going to be Pantone Solid Coated and Pantone Solid Uncoated. What that's going to mean is the color will vary depending on the type of paper you're printing on. So uncoated means it's basically matte paper. No gloss, no UV texture on it, just a simple matte print. Coated means there is going to be some print, so it's going to be glossy paper or the UV covering on it, whatever you're deciding to print with. I also found that coated tends to be more vivid than uncoated. That's also due to the glossiness or the UV you're putting on after it. But to show you the difference, if you click on that, Illustrator is automatically going to find the closest Pantone color and switch it over. So this is already the coated. If I go back over here and find the uncoated, you'll see how much that dulled it a little bit. And then if you go to your swatches panel, you'll see 2 new swatches have appeared. And if you hover over it, right there, it will tell you the actual Pantone number for you in case you were looking for that. Next, I'll show you how to actually properly prepare your file for prints. Most standard, it's going to be PDF. Most places only accept PDF. So it's a good practice to start saving in PDF. Going about saving in PDF files, it's pretty simple. Illustrator already has a good set of default settings. I have my own personal ones that I developed from working at the print shop. So we can take a look at both, and I can show you how to set it up easily for yourself and then save it for yourself. So all you have to do is just go down to the drop menu, click on it, and it's there. You don't have to input the settings ever again. Alright, so I'm just going to start out by showing you how to properly save your PDF for prints here. So you can do File, Save As, or I simply do just Command-Shift-S if you're on Mac. And you get the Save option. Name it whatever you want to name it. I just did BizCard. Save it where you know you're going to find it again later. And then make sure you do select the PDF option, and then hit Save. Next, you're going to see this menu. I have my own personal settings that I use. I'm just going to show you the default, which it comes with the high quality print. The first few things I'm going to show you is to make sure that you turn off Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. The reason why is because that adds a crap ton of extra memory into your file, which makes it larger. In print, the larger the file, the longer it's going to take to print, because it's going to take them forever to load your file, then load it to the printer, and then have it printed. Save everyone the trouble and just turn it off, because they don't need to be able to edit your file, they just need to access it. View PDF after saving is a personal. I like it because as soon as you're done saving it, it pops up as a PDF, so if you spot something in the PDF file, you can easily just close out of it and refix in Illustrator and then save it again. Once you do that, go to the Bleeds and Marks tool. First thing you should do is down here at the bottom with Bleeds, click on that box. That's going to automatically add the bleeds that are in the document onto your print. And the last thing you need is trim marks. That's going to show the printer where exactly they need to print and cut down your file. And I'll show that more in a minute once I save this document. To save this, all you have to do is go to this top right icon here, click on that, name it whatever you want, then hit OK. Once you hit OK, it'll be in that drop down menu. And all you need to do in the future is just click on that drop down menu and you're good to go. Once you're done, just hit PDF, save. Just hit OK with this because it's just warning you about you unclicking the Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. And boom. Shit, I didn't. And boom, there we go. You can see that right in here, they're going to cut along these lines, ensuring that all of this that is not important gets cut off, and that the red is going to go to all of your edges. Same thing with the back. You can see that nothing is going to get cut off, and all that excess that needs to be cut off will be cut off. Packaging your files is super important, especially if you're trying to share this file with a print shop, for example, or your fellow employees, your clients, whoever it may be. If you need to send them the full packaged file and they don't have everything you used, such as if you use multiple Illustrator files, certain typefaces, so on, that could actually damage the file and they can't actually access it properly. So by packaging it, you're putting everything into one single place. So then that way the clients, the print shop, your fellow coworkers or employees, they're able to easily just access everything you created without having to go through this trouble of trying to find the font that you used, or they can't get a logo or the print out because it's not actually attached. So let me show you how to do that. Alright, and the last thing I'm going to show you how to do in this video is simply how to just package your file to be ready to be used by either others or possibly the printing service. So all you need to do is go up to File, Package. Choose the location you know you're going to find it, choose the folder name, make sure Copy All Links is on, make sure all of these are checked. All of these are super important when you're packaging, especially copy fonts. One thing you need to know, and it's in the parentheses here, is that if you're using any fonts, typefaces, whatever, that's on Adobe Fonts, they will not be packaged. So if there's somebody who doesn't have that, doesn't have access to Adobe fonts or whatever, or literally just doesn't own that font, they're not going to be able to have access to it because they don't have Adobe fonts. But if you're using your own typeface that you uploaded, like myself, I actually have a typeface that I purchased and used for my branding that's directly downloaded onto my desktop. By copying the font, it installs and packages it all together. So if I were to give this to a client or a friend to use, they would have that typeface ready to install to their computer. But you just can't do that with Adobe fonts. So once that's all set up, all you need to do is hit packaged, just hit OK, OK, and then now you should have a package file on your desktop that you can use and send to the printers or whoever you need to send it to. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something and enjoyed it. Have a good rest of your day and happy designing.